All right, welcome back to WMAC Now with your host Chuck Stevenson, coming at you with a fight review. So we're going to Orlando, Florida for this one. We're going UFC Fight Night, Thompson versus Holland. We're going to the opening bout, the prelim opener in the straw weight division. Yazmin Jauregui coming in undefeated at 9-0, taking on Istela Nunes coming in at 6-3. Now this fight was supposed to happen back in August for Jauregui's UFC debut. Nunes had to pull out due to injury, and then we got that fight of the year contender with Jauregui versus Yazmin Lucindo. Here we are several months later. Fight is back on. Let's get into it. So first round starts, and there was some good outside fighting in the first minute. Jauregui was working behind her jab. Nunes using her footwork well. Then towards the end of that first minute, Nunes dropped Jauregui with a stiff right, and Jauregui ended up recovering. Now Jauregui chased Nunes a bit. She was missing with her punches. Nunes' footwork was looking good in the first round here. Nunes got a nice knee to the body from a short clinch. Then it was a nice counter right by Nunes. Jauregui did get a single leg, but Nunes was right back up. And then even the commentators pointed it out that Jauregui seemed to relax a bit. And she kind of started to let Nunes come forward a little bit. But Nunes was still working on the outside, picking her shots. But Jauregui did pick up the pace, and she did start to land more at the end. So that was a good first round, I thought, for Istela Nunes. Could possibly give it to Jauregui, but I think dropping her, or her getting dropped, probably scored it for Nunes. Second round, Jauregui pressed forward early, and you could tell she was coming out there with a vengeance, landing heavily to start, scoring some big punches. Then she gets a left hand that just drops Nunes. Nunes was up, but she was wobbly, so she clinched Jauregui on the fence. Jauregui, got control of the clinch and scored a pair of elbows at the break. And then Jauregui lands a 1-2 that dropped Nunes again, and Jauregui pounced on her this time, getting in Nunes' guard, land a big elbow from up top. Nunes was trying to control Jauregui's posture for a little bit. I think she went for an ankle lock, and that's what allowed Jauregui to pass the guard and started dropping hammer fists from side control. And you could see Istela Nunes' left eye, and her eye was getting really swollen. Nunes did regain guard, though, and she was working to try to trap the hands of Yazmin Jauregui, because Jauregui was getting a little bit too overzealous with her ground and pound and was overextending herself a bit. But still, she was just absolutely relentless with the ground and pound. She just kept on landing punches. And after a while, she had Nunes stacked up and was landing punches. And Nunes really wasn't defending, so referee Keith Peterson just steps in and said, all right, that's enough. So your winner via TKO, 4 minutes, 6 seconds, and still undefeated, now at 10-0, Yazmin Jauregui. I'll tell you what, this fight was lightning fast, and it was non-stop action. I mean, this was a fun fight, and this fight really set the pace for the rest of the card. I mean, it was that good of action. If you haven't seen this fight yet, you have to watch it. Both ladies scored good knockdowns in the bout. It was really fun to watch. I mean, Nunes dropped Jauregui in the first round, and then Jauregui dropped Nunes twice in the second round. Just really fun to watch overall. But it kind of makes you wonder, for 3 knockdowns to occur in less than 2 rounds, knockdowns getting scored by both fighters, makes you wonder, maybe they need to work on their defense a little bit. Try not to tear them down too much, but it does make you think about that. For Jauregui, it was her speed and her power that really helped carry her through. Nunes was landing some good counters in the first round, but I would say definitely that Jauregui was the faster fighter overall. And then she was just landing some really good power punches. And, Nunes' eye was looking bad towards the end of the fight. Now, speaking of Nunes, it's obvious that she has legit skill. But I think she's missing something. There is definitely something missing with Istela Nunes. I can't quite put my hand on it. Like, in her first two fights, it seemed like cardio. Cardio didn't seem to be a problem in this fight. But there's something missing with her. I mean, I definitely did not expect her to go, immediately 0-3 in the UFC. I don't know, there's something missing from her. I just can't put my hands on it. But back to Yazmin Jauregui. She has now finished 4 of her last 6 fights. 2 of those came in a single night, but 4 of her last 6 fights have now ended in finish. 2-0 in the UFC, one of them by finish, undefeated at 10-0. Which makes you wonder, what are her limits? And that's the big question that needs to be answered. What are her limits? I mean, I am all in on Yazmin Jauregui. I've been following her since, the Combate Mexico days, back when they were still calling it Combate Mexico. And I covered her one-night tournament win live. It was really exciting. Won 2 of her fights there in the first round via finish. I think she can definitely go places, but thing is, now we got to see just how far she can go, and that's going to be the big question, and that's what the matchmakers are going to look at her and see. Like, when they go into the matchmaking, they're going to wonder, who can we put her up against that will test her, but not test her overly much, and provide those kind of challenges that will tell us things. But we'll get to that in a second. For things to work on, starting with Yazmin Jauregui, she needs to stop overextending and overthrowing on her ground punches. They were pointing it out in a commentary. It leaves her vulnerable to submissions. I think if Nunes was more of a submission fighter, she'd have tried to latch on an armbar from there easily from either side, because Yazmin was just really overextending when she was throwing punches from top from Nunes' guard. For Nunes, do you think she would improve by working with a sports psychologist? Like I said, I think she's missing something. I just can't figure it out. So I think maybe she needs to see a sports psychologist. But a big thing that she needs to work on was her head movement. Her footwork was doing really well last night. She has nice footwork, but she needs to work on her head movement as well. Because she just got dropped twice. Now, for fights to make, sticking with Istela Nunes, probably needs to go back down to a smaller promotion and work on things and try to work her way back up. I would say send her to Invicta. Maybe match her up with Karolina Wojcik. Both ladies need a win. Wojcik just fought at the Invicta Strawweight tournament a couple weeks back. Picked up a win and then lost in the finals. So both ladies need a win, and that should be a fun fight. For Yazmin Jauregui, I say put her in against Piera Rodriguez. Both fighters currently undefeated. Rodriguez is 9-0, Jauregui's 10-0. Both have a pair of wins in the UFC. And Rodriguez is tough, and she is also aggressive. And I think she might be the one that could answer those questions about Jauregui and test her limits. Anyway, those are my thoughts on this fight. Yazmin Jauregui defeats Istela Nunes via TKO in the second round at UFC Fight Night Orlando. Let me know your thoughts on the fight in the comments down below. If you haven't seen it yet, you got to watch that fight. Go watch it, then come back and, let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, please give it a like. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to WMMA Scene Now, the best, most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.